This is Tom from Tom and Ruth Podcast. I hope everybody's doing well today. We are in the Philippines. It is, I would say, 80 degrees, rainy, little humidity. Just, I call it icky day. And what that means is it's nice, but it's not nice. You can do things outside. It's not as hot. It's just cloudy. It's sprinkly. In other words, it's sprinkly rain. We call it gray skies if they're in Buffalo or New York. Just gray skies. Another day. As you know, it's gray skies in a lot of the northern states, quite a bit. Southern states not as bad. So today we're going to talk about U.S. passports, Filipino passports. We're going to get a little bit into it. I was going to list all the countries, but I don't think I'll do that because all I'll be doing is say Albania, American Samoa. I don't want to do that. So today we're going to talk about a few minutes and talk about the countries that you can actually go into. I'll list some of the ones that I know. You can actually go online. I got this online on the visa websites. The U.S. passport ranks 28th in the world as of December 2022, according to the Passport Index. U.S. citizens can travel visa-free to 186 countries in the world. And passport holders must apply for the visa beforehand. And what that means is basically you can apply online, fill out the forms, and send in your payment and get a visa. How easy is that? Where can U.S. passport holders travel without a visa? As of December the 22nd, U.S. passport holders can travel visa-free to 143 countries. So you can actually go to these 143 countries, gain entry into I'm not going to sit here and list all the ones, but I'm just going to do the ones that I'm familiar with. You can go Andorra, American Samoa, of course, Argentina, Armenia. But we all know the islands and places like that are well. People go to Australia. You can enter Australia on U.S. passport. I did not even know that. Bahamas, of course, Austria, Barbados, Belgium, Belize, Bermuda. A lot of people are actually moving to Belize. It's one of the sites that was listed in what I was doing some research on. That and Brunei. So, Costa Rica, Canada, of course. You're going to arrive in Canada, visa free. I think a lot of times too, we need to look at how easy it is and the country you're going to be traveling around to. You got to be prepared for it. You just can't just walk into a country and say, okay, this is what I want to do. You get your hotel squared away, where you're going to go, where you're going to stay, things like that. Of course, Brazil, Cayman Islands, list goes on and on and on and on. 143 countries. Who would ever thought of 143 countries? Peru, Singapore. Singapore is a great place to go, by the way. Vatican City. I did not even know you could go to Vatican City. Of course, Ukraine. Maybe not now. United States Virgin Islands, of course, because the United States. For visa-free travels, you must have a valid passport and a 6 months after you departure date. So, and of course, you need to purchase health insurance required by your destination country. As you know, you can enter the Philippines visa-free. That's on the list. And quite a few places you can go. And then actually what they call e-visa, that you can actually do e-visa, the following 10 countries, e-visas. And these e-visas is the same. You go online. And a lot of these I can't even pronounce. Kenya, India. I can't even pronounce half of these. Vietnam, of course. The process of getting an e-visa is more or less the same as applying, for your traditional visa. However, in this case, you don't have to visit an application center, visa application center. You can just submit your application online and just pay the fees accordingly, and you're basically set. One of the great things about traveling the world, 143 countries, means that you can actually just get on a plane. As long as you have the money, you can travel anywhere you want to go. A lot of times, honestly, the countries are really depending on where you go, are inexpensive countries. And what I mean, you can get a room less than $20, $30 a night, depending on how long you're going to stay. And then after your application is approved, you'll receive an email confirming your visa status along with a document. You must print it out and bring it with you when you're crossing the border. You'll be registered online. Some officers may ask you for a physical copy of the permit. That is why you have to keep your person when you're traveling, because they may stop you and ask you for that. What countries issue a visa on arrival to U.S. passport holders? These 43 countries below, you can actually get a visa upon arrival. I'm familiar with a couple of these because I've actually been in a couple of these countries. Cambodia, of course, Brunei, Egypt, Bahrain. You can actually go Guinea, Jordan, Laos, Lebanon. But there's a list online. You can actually go online and find the list if you're planning to go around these United Arab Emirates. I did not know that either. You receive a visa on arrival. They call it a VOA whenever you entered the country. And there's a separate section at the airport where you can submit your application for your visa upon arrival. And here are countries. I'm just going to list a few of these. You basically know this. Now, this has changed, I think. Don't quote me on this. I thought we could enter U.S. passport, can enter Cuba. I guess you cannot. According to December 22, you cannot. Of course, North Korea, of course. Syria, of course. Countries with visa requirements for citizens, you need a valid visa to enter the 27 following countries. And basically, it's some of the same ones that I talked about earlier. You got to have, like Japan. I went to Japan, and I just gained entry upon arrival there. Nigeria, Russia, Sudan, Venezuela, Yemen. So just make your appointment at the Visa Center in the United States. And they have, and you can do it online. It may take several months to schedule a meeting with the embassy or consulate, so be prepared for that. And your visa must have a passport, health insurance, and it must be verified with a stamp. Submit your application. Finally, you can submit your application to attend the visa interview. And then, of course, some countries may require you to have biometrics, and just prepared for that also. Finally, you submit your application to attend the visa interview. Once you have the documents, you're set and ready to go, and they're going to give you a stamp. If you have a valid visa, you can enter to one country. You don't have to apply for a new visa again. And of course, documents that you're going to need to do travel with the visas are, of course, U.S. passport. Some require other documents. Some countries require a passport. Has to be valid more than 6 months. A visa, a filled application form. Of course, some passport pictures. You should always carry 3, 4, 5, 6 of those or more with you. Ruth and I always carry a dozen of those bad boys with us because for some reason, we seem to go through a dozen of those every time we go out. Everywhere we go, they want a passport photo for us. I don't understand that, but here in the Philippines, every document you submit, you must have a valid passport photo. And passport photo has to be not older than 6 months old. They can tell. Of course, insurance and a proof of you paying your visa. Itinerary, they're going to know where you're going to be, how you're going to get there. One time I was stopped in Canada, I'll never forget this. And the guy says, hey, and I'd never been stopped before, so they pulled me in and started asking, what are you here for? Why are you here? So I'm here because I'm a representative for this manufacturer. And who's going to see? How long you going to, in the whole 9 yards, where are you going to stay? Well, I don't know exactly. In a hotel over down the road. I had to figure that out yet, but we'll figure it out. It's not a big deal. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. Been here before. He said, yeah, it just seems you're in and out of here a lot. I said, well, if you're representative of a manufacturer, and I'm in Florida and I'm selling that product, I need to get updates on that product. So they want to see your itinerary, ticket out of the country, and any kind of booked accommodations. And that's what the guy was looking for me. I said, I don't have anything booked. I said, everything's always open every time I come up here. There's only me and about 3 other people always in the hotel. And of course, they must make sure that you have sufficient funds to cover your visit, civil documents, marriage papers, certificates of birth, things like that. Uh, you can actually, honestly, there is a guide that you can actually uh, submit, and I would keep all that in one packet so you have it. Um, so that way you have it. You can do that. So let's see. What do I want to talk about? The Filipino passport ranks 130th in the world in December 2022, according to Visa Guide. This citizens can travel anywhere. Filipino citizens, 67 countries in the world. And like I said, I'm not going to sit here and list all of them because basically it's a lot of the same countries I just talked about in U.S. Bolivia, Brazil, Brunei, Cambodia, Colombia. And they can enter some same countries that Americans can. And what's ideal about that is if you want to travel with your wife and say you're married to Filipina, you can actually go to Singapore together. You can actually go to Israel together, Laos. You can go to Malaysia together. You can actually travel around the countries because they have free entry. You don't have to worry, for them anyway, and you don't have to worry about getting in that. And you must have a valid passport, and the passport must be at least 6 months. Good afternoon, Woody Bush. And you must have required departure. You must have health insurance and a ticket back out of the country unless you plan on living there. And then, of course, e-visas. You can get the e-visa. It's the same thing, basically, as applying online. It's just a visa. And it's about the same to get. India, Kenya. There's a list of 23 countries. Oman, that's on this list. And a lot of these countries, as you know, it's the same for U.S. citizens. You can get visa upon arrival for the 29 countries also. There's a list of other ones like Malawi, Maldives, Marshall Islands. So there's a long list of 23 countries there. And I know that Ruth and I want to travel more. I did not realize when we came here that I was not prepared, that my daughter, I didn't even think about it. I tell you, my mind must have been in La La Land. My daughter was in the 4th or 5th grade. I said to myself, well, okay, we'll travel. I did not even think about her being in school. I did not think about any of that stuff. You can't pull her out of school and haul around the world. And I wasn't trying to go. I just want to go to Asia. I just want to go to like Cambodia, Vietnam, and Bali. I want to go to those 3 places. I want to go to Singapore, spend more time in Hong Kong than I ever have, longer than 5 days. I want to go like 2-3 weeks, and all that costs money. But the thing of it is, I had it slotted for that. And once I got here, I realized that she's in the 4th grade. She's got to go to school, and so 10 months actually here that time 11 months. At that time. She was in public schools. She was only out of school like 5-6 weeks. So where are you going to go in 5-6 weeks, right? So you can go places and have a great vacation, but it's like time to get there. I wanted to go like 2, 3, 4 months, and like that or more. But I forgot about that, didn't think about it. So it kind of put the quietus on all the traveling. Hadn't been able to travel now for 7 years. We can get out, like right now, she's out of school for 2 weeks. But traveling during these 2 weeks is almost impossible. I was looking online. CDO bus terminal shut down. Too many people. Davao Airport flooded with people that they can't. Late. So traveling at this time would be very complicated during holidays. Now, how in the world would the bus terminal and get to Cebu bus terminal? Oh, forget about it. We did that one time. I'll never do that again. We traveled one holiday time to Cebu, Christmas time, 3 years ago. Stayed a month in Cebu. Actually longer than that, like 5-6 weeks. Forget about it. We were at the terminal, on there for bus terminal itself. We arrived by plane, and we had to get into the terminal. No, we arrived by ship, and we went to the bus terminal to get to South Cebu. Down islands, Oslob and some of the ones down there. So after about, I think it was 5 hours, 6 hours of waiting, and I'm talking waiting, long lines. waiting and waiting and waiting. We finally got on a bus to head south to Oslo. The lady said we were afraid you weren't going to arrive. And he said, well, we tried to call you, but it seems that your phone's not working or something, or you gave us the wrong phone number. And she says, no, we did change the number. And I gave you the wrong number, whatever. Long story short, we ended up there. And getting back out of Cebu was a nightmare. Same thing. So I'll never forget that. At the airport, it was a new terminal. It was fine once we got there. But getting on the bus and traveling, I had to stand, me personally, on the bus because there's only one way in, one way out off the islands down there. And 3-4 hours, and I was beat. Standing, wobbling. As you know, they stop every 10 feet to pick up 10 more people. And I'm crowding the bus. It's overloaded, probably about 50 people overloaded. We're all standing and scrunched up like sardines in a can. And decided I won't do that again. So I've learned a lesson. Don't travel holiday time. So anyway, countries with visa requirements for Filipino citizens. You need a valid visa to enter the following 136 countries. But you can actually, they have visa requirements for citizens, and it's a list. You know, I'm not going to go through that list. You guys pretty well get the good idea. Reason I did this video today, this podcast, is because people ask me, is it really easy to travel around? It is for a Filipino and American to travel. There are a lot of countries you can enter just with your passport, and you don't have to worry about anything other than your passport and your insurance and your bookings and things like that, because they want to know where you're going to stay. Make an appointment at the Visa Center in the Philippines, and you must contact a application center. There is a center. Here we have to go to Davao. There's one in Cebu. I think there's one in CDO too. Get your documents ready. To submit a successful application, you have to prepare the documents, like health insurance, verified sometimes. Like I said, make sure you get valid pictures. They're going to require you sometimes to get biometrics. Sometimes you can already pre-qualify the biometrics, meaning you can go to the local MBI and ask if we can get biometrics because we're going to travel, and they will do the biometrics and send you, and they will check your background, and those are good for 6 months. And they can give you. We did get a couple extra copies one time so we could travel around. So when they required the documents, hey, this is signed, sealed, delivered through the MBI, and this is valid for 6 months. So they let us use those. But I don't know. This was pre-COVID. I don't think they'll let you do that now. I really am not sure, but please check with your local office. Then you can submit your application. It takes several weeks sometimes to get it back, but they'll let you know. They're usually pretty good about that. A lot of countries, like Ruth was telling me, OFW, she's been to Hong Kong twice in her OFW days, and Dubai and Saudi. And she was telling me how sometimes the visa process is easy, but sometimes they had to stand in line a long time to gain entry. And you must have the same old thing: a letter of invitation, book tickets, sufficient funds. They want to make sure you have money too. When you go to these countries, they want to see documents that you have sufficient funds. And so, for an example, if you get stuck there, or hospital stays and things like that, you want to make sure that they're covered, and you're covered with that. And of course, Filipino can enter a lot of countries with ease, just like Americans can. I think a lot of times it depends on who the agent is. I know that, like I said, for me, I got stuck in Canada, and I did go to Bahamas one time, and the agent pulled. It was 4 of us off to the side, because these guys were military, and they want to know why the military's coming in there. And they weren't dressed in military, but they were active servicemen. But they pulled us off and just asked us, 35 questions. And we got out of there about an hour, and everything was fine. It's not a big deal. A lot of places you will not be able to go. Now, this is as of this December 2022. So visas are basically the same. You can apply for quite a few of these online, and you can get the documents. You have to be very careful. Make sure you save all the particular, print out all the forms that you need, because some you don't think you need it, and sure enough, you're going to need it, right? Uh, you know, I've done that even when I came here. When I came here the first time, they had what they called the bullet scare, and what the bullet scare was back 7 8 years ago. They before Duterte took office, there was uh, people guards at the airports. They were throwing bullets in these guys' luggage as they were checking them, and they were requiring the foreigner or Filipino to pay them money, and they won't turn them in or arrest them and things like that. So I went through that, which was fine. I did not get anything happen there, but I did get everything stolen out of my luggage. I had diamond rings, shoes, really nice Bostonian shoes, $100 shoes. There was quite a few articles in there. Probably lost about, including the rings and everything, probably about $3,000 to $4,000 worth of stuff. Camera, a beautiful a new Polaroid camera for pictures, things like that. The camera was, 500. You know what? I lost more than that. Probably lost $5,000. That camera was $700. I remember buying it at Walmart on sale. But that's the thing. Anyway, I lost all that. I came here to propose. I came here to meet Ruth and for the second time again, and to propose to her officially. And I had the rings, and of course they were stolen out of my luggage. So of course when I went back to the States, I had to buy more rings, and the clothes and things that they took, and was not. It could be replaced. A laptop. I had a next book in there. It was taken. There was another laptop that was in there. It was taken, IBM laptop. And the little next book was a gift for them. So I had to go buy another one of those. And I didn't buy another camera because there you go. Why do that? So that's the thing. When you're traveling, you got to be prepared for it. Traveling can be complicated. And that's the reason I'm a type of person, if I travel somewhere, I want to stay at least a month, 2 months. I don't want to travel just a week and then get out of there, because you don't really enjoy and get to see the country, enjoy the country. And that's kind of what I want to do here. But I have the little one still in school, and so it takes up a lot of my time, or waiting on her to get out of school. And then time, like we were going to go somewhere this time, but really couldn't, because we got some family members that are sick, really sick. So I want to thank everybody for always watching. I didn't realize I've been on here for 22 minutes. Like, I should stay on another hour. I had quite a bit of stuff here I wanted to go over, but please know if you have a valid visa, it allows you to enter more than one country. You don't have to apply for another visa, a new visa. So Filipino can travel a lot of countries. U.S. can, and like I said, that's really positive. So if your lady and yourself want to go somewhere together, that works out perfectly. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you guys next time. Woody, thank you for coming on. I want you to have a great and fantastic day, and thank you so much for spending your valuable time. I promise I'll get on here and do a 3, 4, 5 hour podcast one day, and just keep doing them every day. And that's my goal, is just keep doing 2, 3 hour podcasts all the time. I have some people ask me questions. It's a great forum that I can actually pull people off of YouTube and ask them to come to my podcast, because they can answer a lot of their questions, and they can ask me questions here more so than they can on YouTube. God bless everybody, and I'll see you again on Tom and Ruth podcast. Thanks, Woody.